Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us tmosso@the1916company.com for pricing. Reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing of this or any of our watches. Today we discuss a 2020 launch from Greubel Forsey. This is how Greubel Forsey does a water-resistant sports watch. It is the Balancier S Titanium. Balancier S for sport, 100 meters water-resistant inside and out, made of grade 5 titanium. And being mostly titanium, sapphire, and rubber, it's a light watch in the hand and on the wrist. So I need to be clear about how this watch wears. It's often listed as 43. I can find very few practical ways to measure this at 43. So let me explain how I measured it with my caliper. I measured it 45 millimeters from edge to edge, not including the crown, and then from bezel end to bezel end. These are the extremes across the case. I also measured 45 millimeters. And then the easiest to mention is the thickness, which is 16.1. So this wears almost like a 45 millimeter round watch. Let's throw it on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. You can see it has a highly integrated proprietary rubber strap. Look how far inboard of the edge of my wrist the edges of this case are. Really close hauled to the center, to the point where I think you could wear this watch on a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. It is sheer, it is tall. It's not designed to disappear beneath the cuff. There are other Greubel Forsey watches for that. This one is designed to be seen and to be seen wearing. Very light, extremely comfortable, and you can see even from over the top, the lug's nowhere near the edge of my wrist. The strap does sort of match the arc of the case, so it's not perfectly flexible. It's got a little bit of what I call flare, where the strap or bracelet insists on flaring out beyond the end of the case. So you need to take that into account. Normally a watch that's only 45 millimeters from lug to lug would be something I'd consider for a lady's wrist of maybe 13.5 centimeters, but the flare of this strap is why I say don't go any smaller than 14. The buckle is a deployant clasp. You can see just as the case flank has some hollows and sculpting, we have a little bit of a recess on the flanks of the buckle. There's a media blasting internally, and then polish around its edge. You see a similar treatment on the flank of the case, and that is design parallelism at work. You can see that there is a little bit of the company's philosophy, the text philosophy that dominates their watch designs. They're watchmakers, and they are inventors. Now, it's a twin trigger release. It's titanium like the rest of the watch. You press both triggers to open it. It is a double fold, and you can see it is also branded externally. It's designed to prevent the accidental droppage of your watch. That is the point of a deployant clasp. Taking a quick look, it's easy enough if you wish to dismount the strap from the clasp itself. And then you just pull it through like this. Easy to do. There's a lot more text once you get to the case. You can also see that we have blackened case flanks, and it's a little bit of a polymer coating. It looks like it might be PVD. It's actually some sort of a polymer, a rubber-like substance. We have little bolts that fix the case together, as well as details of polish on satin, and then media blast. These little corner plates feature 3 different finishes. You can see architecture, perfection, technical skill, design harmony, know-how, works of inventors, watchmakers, exclusive. Lots to love, but when you see text on Greubel Forsey watches, it is the manufacturing and watchmaking philosophy of Robert Greubel and Stephen Forsey. That's what all that text is about. Now, on the top of the ovoid bezel, you can see we have satination, and then you can also see that the bezel and the sapphire are dramatically non-round, including camber across the top. Not cheap pieces to make. The movement is made of grade 5 titanium bridges and plates, which is why I say this watch is so light. We have 2 stacked barrels. You can see right there, coaxial 2 barrels, providing 72 hours of power reserve and abundant torque to the movement. You can see we have a power reserve indicator over at about 2 o'clock on the dial. We have a separate freestanding bridge for the motion works that regulates the movement of the hands. and then the hands tower over the dial, including clearing the balance wheel right there. You can see that bridge features anglage, polish, and media blast. The base plate is media blasted. The balance is actually displaced at 30 degrees, so depending on how the watch sits on your desk or your dresser at night, it's still going to offset the effects of gravity a little bit. There's a running seconds hand because the watch doesn't have a conventional coaxial seconds hand on the top. It is a free-sprung balance for a better shock resistance with an overcoil hairspring so that it breathes concentrically regardless of the position of the watch. That timing consistency across positions, a trait of overcoil hairsprings. It's also a free-sprung balance with the adjustments to timing done using the variable inertia bolts on the balance itself for precision and then once adjusted for shock resistance. There is lume, not a lot. The red variant of Super Luminova isn't super powerful, but you can see it is there. Taking a quick look at that caliber now, beating away at 21,600 vibrations per hour. Most of the excitement of this 42 jewel titanium manual wind caliber is on the dial side, though there are some highlights on the back. We get more text, and then you can see a combination of recesses that are media blasted, polished channels that run along the edges, and then you can see the profiles of these bridges in titanium have been beveled on their side. There's also satination on the wheels below, and you can see solarization on the barrel cover hidden way down there. Taking a quick look, there are little chaton cups in gold, reminding us of how pocket watches would have been made in Greubel Forsey's hometown of La Chaux-de-Fonds in a previous era. And then this watch is one of 18 being made with this combination of case and dial. And again, this was the 2020 model year launch, the Balancier S. It is how Greubel Forsey does a water-resistant sports watch. Reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. One more thing, people do ask me, is this a hacking seconds system? And if you look carefully, you will be able to see that no, it is not a hacking seconds system. That is probably the only feature the watch does not have. Reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for pricing.